Hi there, folks. Saber4 here, back with another video in the Legends of the Force series. This time we're going to talk about the Grand Inquisitor. We're going to look at the Spark of Rebellion Grand Inquisitor and bringing him along into the Legends of the Force fold. Before we begin, if you have not done so already, please subscribe to the channel. It really helps out a ton with our growth. Been excited to see kind of how this channel has done over the course of the last couple of months, and really excited to kind of see where we go. In this video, we're going to get a little special announcement, a nice little 5K weekend that some friends of mine from previous tournaments are putting on. And then we'll look at the Grand Inquisitor and some of the case for the aggression tools and the cunning tools and the deck that I've kind of worked on right now, which is well, you'll see it when it comes down. All right. So, I am very pleased to be a part of the announcement for this. I talked to the folks over at Deep Dive Games in St. Mary's, and they are going to put on a 5K weekend here in the beginning of August. On the 9th, we will be seeing a premier 3K open event, 96 player cap, 7 round Swiss, top 8 cut, and the top 8 get cash prizes plus a special prizing, some play mats, some other things like that are going along with it. And on the second day, on the 10th, there is a 20 team cap, 2K team open, which looks really cool. I've been excited to kind of see how those play out. That's a really interesting format. You have a team of 3. You sit down with 3 different decks, and the team captains assign different matchups. Going to be 5 round Swiss there, 6 round if necessary in order to determine placing, and cash prizes to the top 4. QR codes are available for both of them. You can also look up the Deep Dive Games at St. Mary's Facebook page, where they have links and a similar video in order to announce this particular event. Really cool spot. St. Mary's is on the Georgia-Florida border. Just across into Georgia, not real far from Amelia Island. So if you are in the area in the southeast and want to hit a 5K weekend, check it out. Deep Dive Games, St. Mary's, Georgia. QR codes right there, and I will leave a link in the description. All right, moving on. Grand Inquisitor. This is the Grand Inquisitor hunting the Jedi that we saw in Spark of Rebellion. At one point along the way, FFG said that, we kind of wish we had set him at 5. In our first set, he was a little slow. He was a little bit understated, especially for a 6 deploy, and made him kind of one of those forgotten leaders of the first set. He's gotten some tools and some interesting updates, and now is the time to kind of look back and see if the Grand Inquisitor is something that can get play. Is it a Tier 1 deck? Probably not. Is it something that can do some surprising things and really make some interesting turns, make some hay, especially against the decks that are not pulling off Tier 1 or decks that miss their force throw or however it plays out? Oh, absolutely. So what we get is a leader action that does 2 damage to a friendly unit with 3 or less power and ready it. And on his unit side, as we said, 6 deploy. He is a 3/6, and on attack, you may deal 1 damage to another friendly unit with 3 or less power and ready it. So he has the ability to whip his units into shape and get them attacking on the turn that they are played. You're quite often going to see that in a functionality where you attack with your turn 1 play. Why I say this is playing fast slowly is because you are going to get to attack with those things and really kind of go to base on the turns that they are deployed. Unless your opponent is heavily playing Sentinels, you're going to be able to start pushing damage turn 1. But because of the nature of this and the fact that a single attack out of your turn 1 play takes 3 actions, it is unlikely that you are going to wind up playing on initiative very often. So, what tools did we get? The new aggression tools here. Number 1, we're going to acknowledge that force throw is an aggression tool. We have a lot of force units in here by the nature of the Inquisitors, and as a result, force throw is one of our possible staple tools. We have the Grand Inquisitor, the new unit itself, and that Grand Inquisitor unit uh, accesses both the hidden keyword, a thing that I really think is one of the stronger mechanics, and he has raid 1. So he is able, by the leader, to go ahead and be readied, but then swings for 4 rather than swinging for 3. Um, we also got the Scythe, which is a Inquisitor branded ship. It's Imperial. It carries vehicle, transport, and Inquisitor traits. Has a nice healthy body to it at a 3/5. Once you ready it with Grand Inquisitor, it's going to be a 3/3, so it's still pretty sturdy overall. Takes a lot to get rid of it and get all of that health down so that you cannot ready that ship. But on attack, it gives another friendly Inquisitor unit +2/+0 for the phase. Now, note that once you do that, you will not be able to then say ready the Grand Inquisitor, because he would now have 5 attack rather than 3. But we can use this to our advantage in other ways. Other things that we have are primary tools. The Clan Challengers. This is a unit with raid 3 and 3 attack. Thralls of the Coven is a new unit in this one, which again comes with a nice hefty raid to it. It's a red unit. So 3 attack, 5 deploy, big butt, that is just hard to get rid of and hard to keep the Grand Inquisitor from being able to ready. Secondary units that we have: 7th Sister and 5th Brother, both from the first set. If we are in double aggression, we also have Paz Vizsla, and Paz Vizsla is essentially a double on grit. Rather than have grit, he gains +2/+0 for each damage. And so your opponent will have to either damage him, or since he has 3 attack at the time that Grand Inquisitor readies him, they have to deal with a 7. Cartel Interceptor is another one. Again, a good raid unit. The Death Watch Loyalist, a 3 attack unit with grit. And then Django Fett, a 3 attack unit with 6 health that can also play at that 4 spot. The other big thing that we got is hidden. And that is very important, especially when we consider the ability to put out Grand Inquisitor and other Inquisitor units. This means that your leader, should the Grand Inquisitor unit from Legends of the Force be played on that turn, your leader is now hidden. He is an Inquisitor unit, and so he is not able to be attacked and removed during that turn. Now, there are plenty of ways, especially Force Throw, that he could be removed otherwise, but that does not necessarily mean that that's going to happen every time, and he's not going to be able to be attacked and removed. The case for aggression really boils down to 2 cards, and that is, number 1, playing aggression to be able to deal 4 damage to a unit or defeat 2 upgrades, 2 very high utility things in this current meta, or to ready a unit with 3 or less power. So to ready another one of your units, you can play this and ready one of your units more than one time in a turn. This includes your Grand Inquisitor leader. So if you're playing this on that 6 resource turn, you have the ability to turn around with your Grand Inquisitor, ready something a second time, especially since you're going to be doing 1 damage to it rather than 2. So swinging with that Grand Inquisitor will give you an extra attack against the base. And then Paz Vizsla, as we said, I only need to do this once. Here's Paz Vizsla, a 3/6 for 5, that now you're being able to play much better, much closer to on rate, and double grit, +2/+0 for every damage that's on him. Again, if your opponents are being savvy about this, they will damage this unit prior to you having an opportunity to ready it. But if they need answers elsewhere, then that thing's going to swing for 7 if it's readied off of the leader side, and swing for 5 if it is readied off of the Grand Inquisitor side. The Cunning toolbox. This, I think, is the best pairing with Grand Inquisitor right now. I know there are green versions of green-red villainy. There are versions of red-blue villainy. I think other leaders do those combinations better. I think that the Grand Inquisitor is uniquely positioned to be able to do this particular combination better. And why is that we have some primary tools. We have Sneak Attack, we have Surprise Strike. Second Sister is a good but not perfect tool in this. And then we also have the legendary Legacy Run. We have some raid tools. And those raid tools include things like Rush Clovis, the Nile Marauder, Aura Sing, the Lifewind Sage, and I have been told that this is closer to Marcon rather than Marchon, but Marcon Row. And what's going on with these? Well, let's talk about it. The case for Cunning is Explosive Surge. And really, one of these combinations that you really like is to be able to play Sneak Attack and bring out specifically some of your space units, but other units are just fine. Sneaking Attack in with the Scythe is 6 damage and 4 power to an Inquisitor unit because you're able to play the Scythe, ready it, or play it in ready for just 3 resources, and you'll be able to attack with it, ready it from the Grand Inquisitor, attack with it again, and if you have another Inquisitor unit on the table, that Inquisitor unit is going to gain 4 to its attack. Sneak Attack plus the Scimitar, again, costs 3. It's 2 cards from hand, but it costs 3, and you're going to get 9 damage out of it because the Scimitar gains +3/+0 when it's damaged. So it comes in, gets its attack from being already ready when it comes in, takes the damage from the Grand Inquisitor, readies because it was 3 at that time, and becomes a 6, so becomes a much more powerful unit that you can swing with a second time. Raid units. The Nile Marauder, 5 health, easy to ready, swings for 4. It's hard, with the exception of the Grand Inquisitor unit, to find something else that is going to break that 3 threshold that cheaply. It can create a tempo deck. Even though it's very heavy on action churning, you can have things like the blaster in it, the DL44 Hotshot Blaster, that allow you to attack immediately when it is smuggled in, and to get yourself in a position where you are able to actually chain some attacks rather than just churning actions. So let's talk about the deck that I built really quickly. Here's what we've got. Force Throw is in here, as is Qian Fury. And the reason these two are in here is kind of twofold, as well as, the Hotshot Blaster. Number one, they are good tools because you've got enough force units to most of the time force throw your opponents. Though you do have a couple of big butts down there at the end with Darth Vader and Marcon Rowe, who represent something that you can throw. I am much more likely to throw Second Sister at something just because her ability is not as easy to trigger. And readying resources in this deck is a sometimes useful thing, but not always. Qian Fury allows me to bring in one of these force units with ambush, and to take less damage from it, potentially readying it and having it able to attack again. Another of the things about this is that they're all 1 cost. And so if I have not used them otherwise, or if I'm holding on to them to potentially use them otherwise, I am willing to trade you using Force Throw for me dropping Force Throw. You burned a resource in that one. I did a typically insignificant damage to one of my units. Now, there are a few of them that actually will impact, but that's okay for the most part. Qian Fury, same thing. My force units are not as prevalent in this deck, and so dropping one of them in order to only get pinged for 1 and have you burn a resource, I'm fine with. Hotshot Blasters, I probably would rather smuggle just to get off that bigger attack on a unit that I have readied, but it is what it is. From here, we have Aura Sing, we have the Strike Ship, we have Fifth Brother, we have the Grand Inquisitor, we have the Nile Marauder. All of these units have raid in some capacity. In our sideboard, we see the Clan Challengers, which has raid. The goal of this is that if we need it, when we get to Marcon Row, we're talking about being able to double raid across the board. And so things like the Fifth Brother, which were not as valuable here, all of a sudden that 1 damage that you put into another unit became raid 2 or raid, or if it had more damage on it and has some space, this is up to raid 6, which is a hugely powerful swing. The Grand Inquisitor unit here from Legends of the Force becomes raid 2, so swinging for 5. The Nile Marauder gains raid 6, so swinging for 7. Big hits can come in off of this. We talked about sneak attack. One of the plays that I have accomplished with this deck more than once in playtesting, actually several times in playtesting, has been you're cruising along a little bit, you are losing units off the board, and swinging into base with them the turn that they're out there, and if your opponent grabs initiative and takes them out before you get to swing a second time, sometimes that's what happens. But that means that they are not attacking your base. And so they're not gaining that significant advantage against your base. If that is the case, and you are able to then put down another unit, ready it, and attack, you're typically attacking their base. And so you've done some whittling damage by the time you get to your 5 resource turn. On your 6 resource turn, and like I said, I have pulled this combo off more than once, if you have the ability to have either to already have Grand Inquisitor on the table or to drop the Legends of the Force Grand Inquisitor unit, that makes your leader flip a hidden unit. But I have done this one several times. Grand Inquisitor unit, sneak attack Scythe, swing Grand Inquisitor, ready Grand Inquisitor off of my leader, swing Scythe, deploy leader, swing with leader, ready Scythe, swing with Scythe, swing with Grand Inquisitor Legends of the Force unit. Now, that's a lot of action, and that's a lot of churning. But stay with it, because the first swing with the Grand Inquisitor unit did 4. The 2 swings from the Scythe did 3 apiece. The swing from the Grand Inquisitor leader unit did 3. We're sitting on 13. We're going to swing with the Grand Inquisitor again, but he is an 8. So that is a 21 to base if you get it all off, and really creates an explosive turn that is unlike most other things. Missing from this board right now are Legacy Run, which makes a great target in here, possibly a good replacement for, say, the Starhopper, or really Second Sister, just because you've got some other things that are in there. And that's another great sneak attack target because it can come out ready, swing to base, be ready by Grand Inquisitor, swing to base again, get 6 damage into the base, get damage into whatever else is there. It doesn't really matter. And then at the end of the turn, it is defeated, and you deal 6 damage to their board. Another thing that this deck does well is to play TIE Bomber. And if you are against Han, for example, who is going to bring out damaged units, playing Vader onto that TIE Bomber now allows you to ping those damaged units down further. Really kind of threatening when you are talking about Vader makes it a +3/+3. So, hey, look, a 3/7. I can ready that thing several times with Grand Inquisitor. I'm going to be able to ping damage, and when I do, if I defeat a unit, I get to add damage. And so there's a lot that builds here in very sneaky ways. Check it out. Is it tier 1? Probably not. Is it effective? Oh, it absolutely is. Is it fun to play? Yep, there you go. There are 2 units that Vader can drop on because he's also available for the Strike Ship. Strike Ship already has raid 3. 3 indirect versus swinging for 6 is a big play when we're talking about if they don't take out a space unit from turn 1, and now it has swung for 3 and then swung for 6 on the next turn with the ability to ready and swing again. Yeah, you can really chew things up. This deck is quick, even though it plays without initiative most of the game. It is fun, and really, that's what we're here for. So I will leave links to the 5K event there at Deep Dive Games in the description, and check them out if you are anywhere in the South Georgia, North Florida, or driving distance from Amelia Island. Check out, the old Atlantic coast, and we'll see you there. Till next time, take care.